Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Glendale Housing Authority meeting of August 26, 2008. May we have a roll call for the authority, please?
Authority members: Draymond.
Here.
Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Yusefian.
Here. May we have your report, please?
Agenda for the August 26, 2008 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, August 21, 2008 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. What's next, please?
Next is approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
Second.
I have a question, Mr.
Yes.
Chair. On the minutes. I just noticed that there's no indication of... I usually check these things to see whether or not I was there or not there, or and it all got me thinking about it when we were all trying to figure out where Mr. Quintero was or wasn't one day, and there's no indication of everybody present or absent or...
All right.
No.
We'll make that correction. Thank you.
Okay. With that correction...
It was a ghost meeting, actually.
With that correction, the minutes will stand approved. What's next, please?
Next is oral communication. Discussion is limited time, is not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for an investigation and report.
Okay, I have one card, Herbert Milano, and Mr. Mayor, he has one of those favorite items of yours, a PowerPoint.
Oh, PowerPoint. I was going to say, he brought a hot fudge sundae with him?
Aha, that's the second favorite thing he wants. Now we know. Lights, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Youssef and members of the Housing Authority and city staff. My name is Herbert Milano. For the past few weeks, I have been bringing to you some ideas and observations on the need for the city to move forward on the quality of life measures. As far as I know today, we really have not moved very far on those quality of life measures. And I believe that it is really important for the City Council to get more directly involved in setting those measures, especially a measure of the quality of life such as it is with regard to public safety. So I decided to bring in some suggestions with regard to how other cities have measured this public safety, especially as it regards to the police, and to bring those to your attention for consideration. Here I have a PowerPoint with regard to the police department creating a meaningful performance scorecard in order to evaluate their how they respond, how they prevent, and how they solve crime. The traditional measures for most police departments are the number of residents per officer, the response time, and surveys of the public perception of safety. The meaningful measures of a police department would be the violent crime trends in multiple years, the property crime rate trends, and other public safety trends such as traffic safety, the number of collisions and the number of pedestrian safety and the trends in injuries. As you know, in Glendale, we have about 126 injuries per year, and we had some major improvements in the first half of this year. But the measurements of effectiveness that are really valuable are the measurements that actually show the ability of a police department to solve crimes. In the case of violent crime, is the violent crime clearance rate, the homicide clearance rate, the property crime clearance, and the burglary clearance rates. So I have some documents giving you the statistics of 34 police departments in Orange County for which you can get all of these measures. And by the way, none of those measures you can get for the city of Glendale. They're not compiled. With regard to potential trends in domestic crime, you can look at aggravated assault and divide that between adult and juvenile. So oftentimes we want to set policies with regard to what are we doing with regard to youth programs. And of that particular number of aggravated assaults, we should know what percentage of that is really due to juvenile crime, or what percent is due to child abuse and neglect, or issues that stem from addiction to illegal drugs. And so we aim to have, in addition to the historical facts, some leading indicators. In the case of the leading indicators will be, for example, I'm sorry that I used a yellow color for this one, but it says family financial problems. So most economists will tell you, and those individuals who study crime statistics know that when there's a significant downturn in the economy, there's generally an increase in crime as a general trend. So if you were to look at leading indicators, in this case social indicators, the number of evictions that occur in a year in the city, the school dropout rate, a true and accurate dropout rate, the number of single-parent head of household rates, the electric bills in arrears. This is, for example, a number that should be looked at, for example, at the GWP Commission, and yourselves to figure out how it is that the city's residents are able to meet those additional increases, for example, in the electric bill. The number of food bank customers, the number of people trying to access and obtain assistance from food banks, or the number of businesses or how they're progressing with regard to the cash advance or the check cashing services with regard to the payroll advance services. So when we take a look at leading indicators, then we know now what the role of a city council would be in order to let us know how it is that we're doing as a city. You evaluate the past performance to those measures. You establish major objectives. You set the key performance measures in the case of the police department. You approve the policy and the initiatives. And then the last thing you do is to define a budget to fulfill those policy objectives. But you see, what happens in Glendale is that you are presented first with a budget, and then you work backwards through this process. And so the process that you've used for who knows umpteen years is backwards. The budget should try to fulfill the major objectives that you set in place, and we need to have some type of periodic review to make sure that your policies, as you set them, are actually being followed through by the police department and other entities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's my last card. All communications closed. What's next, please?
Any authority member or staff comments?
Any comments? I have one. Madeline, it has been brought to my attention by several individuals that apparently the homeless shelter that we have down on San Fernando area, apparently they let the people out. They have to clear the place. In the morning, everybody leaves. The problem is some of those homeless have children, and since the school is out of session, a mother or father has to pick up those 3-4 kids and just walk around the streets for several hours until they're allowed back. And also it is very difficult for some of them to look for jobs when they're, moving several of their own children with them. So could you look into a possibility of, at least when the schools are off, for those individuals who have children to be able to leave their children at the facility, so this way they're not dragging them around the town?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we're adjourned.